What's going on, guys? Zephyrnix here, and today we're going to talk about something that's kind of interesting. It looks like Nintendo is poised to actually purchase Sega. That's right, Nintendo's going to buy Sega. At least that's what seems to be the case anyway. Now, I mean, this is amazing, person speaking. I mean, it kind of just makes you look back at your childhood and want to backslap it. Pretty much backslaps your entire childhood. Think of it for a second. Back in the day when I was growing up, there was one absolute, and that was, it was always Nintendo versus Sega. Sega versus Nintendo. And to be quite frank, anyone else who jumped into the ring in a whole console war was simply those other guys. You know, just saying. When NEC came out there with their TurboGrafx 16, it was, and the other systems, you know, just got CDI, you know, you get what I'm saying. So for this to actually happen is amazing. You know, I know a lot of people, at the same time, Sega has worked with Nintendo before, sure, in the Sonic and Sega All-Star Olympics, but what a lot of people don't actually realize is that Sega actually worked on the F-Zero game for Nintendo, and the fact of the matter is that that F-Zero game is actually one of the most popular ones. It's called F-Zero AX or F-Zero GX for the arcade and GameCube respectively. So, you know, they've definitely worked with it before. But anyway, what does this mean for both Sega, Nintendo, and the gamers? That's the big question right there. Well, it's actually pretty simple. When Nintendo goes ahead and buys Sega, Sega does not no longer have to hold the whole financial burden by themselves, you know. Now they can go ahead and start, you know, taking chances, rehashing other franchises. And remember, they have a whole bunch of franchises, which we'll get into in a minute. But at the same time, you also got to know that Nintendo does put their foot down when required. So, I mean, to be frank, it could mean a whole bunch of classic games can make a return. At the same time, you know, for one, it may not mean that, because, you know, Nintendo can do whatever they want. It will do whatever they want. And number two, always remember that it's going to be exclusive to the Nintendo platform simply because of the fact that Nintendo does not like their stuff going on anyone else's thing. I'm just saying, it's we know that already, you know. But so, what does that mean for the gamer? Well, if you are a PlayStation gamer, that's going to mean a little bit for you, more for you rather, because that means that you won't be receiving Sonic the Hedgehog games. You also won't be receiving the Yakuza series or the Valkyrie Chronicles series anymore. That would go exclusively to Nintendo. If you are an Xbox 360 or a PC gamer, let's be honest with it, a PC gamer, that's going to affect us PC gamers too. That means that no one's going to get it except for Nintendo. So if you do have a Wii U, which apparently is the brand new Dreamcast now, yeah, Dreamcast 2 rather, yeah, it's definitely going to be there, man. So expect a lot of old Dreamcast games as well, like Shamu and all those games that were back in the day on the Dreamcast, the Sega Saturn. Those games are going to definitely make a huge return really fast on the eShop most likely. But just to kind of give you a glimpse of what these guys have to hold, what these guys have to gain, Nintendo that is, if they buy Sega, it's pretty much this. These are some of the things that they actually have available to buy. Rather, the franchises that Sega currently has, rather. That's Daytona USA, Sonic, well, not Sonic Shuffle, but Daytona USA, Virtual Strikers, Super Monkey Ball, Shining Force, let's see what else I can come up with, Altered Beast, Golden Axe, Outrunners, Outrun, Cool Runners, Sega GT, Phantasy Star, Shinobi. I believe I mentioned Golden Axe already. If I didn't, it's okay. It's a great game. I'll go ahead and name it again. Alex Kidd, Streets of Rage, aka Bare Knuckles, Sakura Wars. The list just goes on and on and on. Skies of Arcadia, Seventh Dragon, House of the Dead. I believe I mentioned Valkyrie Chronicles, Rise of Nightmare, and the list just keeps going on and on and on. Afterburners, Beach Spike, Arabian Fight, 18-Wheeler, just name it one, a Virtual Fighter, Virtual Cop, hell, Virtual Fighter Kids, if you remember that game, Virtual Vipers, Fighters Megamix. Now, basically a lot of games, basically. Now, before I go ahead to the question of the day, which is, of course, what do you guys think? Remember one thing. The biggest problem right now is that Sega really doesn't have a leg to stand on right now. The only thing keeping them afloat is, in fact, Sonic the Hedgehog. I mean, and the you know, because of the fact, well, I think in the series they have on PlayStation exclusively, you know, the Valkyrie Chronicles, etc., etc. So they've already had to restructure themselves pretty much to the point where, you know, they only had to work on their best franchises, and that's all they could do right now. So yeah, they need help, and they already missed out on Bayonetta. So what do you guys think? You guys think that it's a good idea for Nintendo to buy Sega? Respond in the comment section below. But I gotta say this: I hope they do, and I hope they go ahead and re-release Shenmue. That's all I'm looking for. Once Shenmue releases, well, that's all I need. You guys have a good night. Zeph out.